Welcome all, Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, looking at the DXY on the daily time frame. Nothing's changed. I'm looking for this A, B, C down. Still looking for more downside on the lower time frame, or possibly more downside. On the H4, we got the 5 down. We got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm looking for 3 or 5 up in here as a complex correction, like I've mentioned, and then possibly more downside. Down, possibly down to this 100 fib or even further. H1, there really isn't a buy setup on it yet for that larger 5 or 3 up. This is looking more bearish. So yeah, I'm more interested in, ideally this goes down, breaks the low, giving us more bullish divergence, nice impulse up, correction, and then I can start to look for 3 and 5 up in here. AU on the daily time frame, looking at that A, B, C, looking for a little bit more upside in this B wave in here. Or that C wave up to finish off the B wave. H4, we did get looking at an A, a B, and we're getting a C up in here. Ideally, we get a little bit more upside up to that 100 fib. We're starting to get this bearish divergence here though, so it's becoming risky to buy into this. It's sort of, I mean, we could look at this as some sort of an A, B, C, and then we get a flat in here before we get like an A, B, C. Again, we already have bearish divergence, so there's really not much you can do on this. You could look to buy, but it's quite risky. You could look to buy to go with the trend, but once we start to get that bearish divergence, it becomes risky. GU on the daily time frame, well, this is the weekly count, but like this green A here is a weekly count, but I'm looking at an A, a B, and a C, possibly up to this 100 fib here. So nothing's changed on the daily time frame. H4, looking for those 5, 1, A, B. I'm looking for this C down in here before we get like 5, 3, 5. Like I've been mentioning for a while now, I'm not looking for buys up here. I'm more interested in getting this C down and then looking for a buy. If we go down to the lower time frame, this is looking rather nice for a sell. We got a nice impulse down. This is looking very, very corrective here. So, I'd be looking for a sell against the top. It's really not complete yet. The structure in here, it sort of doesn't look complete. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. We get a third one down in here, and then another 3 or 5 up in here. And then I'd start to look for like at least an A, B, C. But this could turn motive on the H1 and give us 5 down there for that H4 wave C down. I'm looking for, a nice move down in here, impulsive move on the H4. EU, very similar to GU on the lower time frames, but looking at that A, B, and a C, it's just about up to that 100 fib, that target we're looking at. We've been looking at that target for a very long time now, that 100 fib. But on the lower time frame, it's very similar to GU on the H4. We got that 5. I'm looking for a larger correction here running or expanding flat, and then looking for like 5, 3, 5. So like GU, I'm only looking for sells in here. We already have the bearish divergence, so really not interested in buys. I'm more interested in a sell. It's not, I mean, GU is giving us a nicer sell than what EU is. This is more bullish still. Like, this in here, like we sort of already have 3 down, like 1, 2, 3. May get a wave 4 and a wave 5 down. It may be a leading diagonal, but it may just be a correction as well, and we get more upside in this B wave before we go down for that wave C down. So, you could buy this. I mean, you could. It's risky. We got all this bearish divergence here, but this may be a flat in here, and you get like an A, B, C, and this goes up and breaks the top. It's risky. So this could go either way. You could get a move up, breaking the top, or you get that 5th wave down, like I just mentioned, like an A, 1, 2, 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5 down before it gives you more upside. It's more bullish, this. If I was looking for the sells, I'd be looking at GU for the sell, not so much EU. NU on the daily, looking at that A, B, we're looking for that C up to that 100 fib. We got on the H4, we got a nice impulse up from the low. We're looking at that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and a nice impulse down, completing that correction. And now we're looking for more upside. It's pretty much playing out how I've been looking at it. That correction, it turned into a complex correction, and it's pretty much what I've been looking at for a very long time, all this in here. So now I'm looking for a correction. We have like a nice impulse up, waiting for a correction in here, and then I can look for a buy. So just waiting for a nice correction in here. It may come down, to the 50 fib of this, and then give you a buy setup. I'm pretty much waiting for a complete correction in here before I look for the buys. You can look for buys now, actually. We go down to the M15. It's risky in the fact that there is a possible bear hidden here. We're getting a rather deep correction to this move here. The problem here is, I was sort of looking at that as a flat there, but this is quite impulsive. Here we have 3 down. So I'm looking at a complex correction here. Like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5 up in here. Then possibly another one down. But in here, you could look for a buy in here. Sort of get some sort of a correction in there. It's already broken the trend line in here. Oh. Oops. Yeah, but the thing that I don't like about this, that I don't think it's ready yet, is we can get another one down in here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. We may get a bear hidden in here, and you get a 5th one down. That will make it very deep to this this impulse here, which is what we usually see when we have a possible bear hidden. I'm not going to go into this too much with the hidden divergences. It's more for the group, what you learn in the group. But yeah, the one thing that I don't like about this, and that I think that we may still get another one down in here, is if I go down to the lower time frame quickly, you'll see that this didn't come from a low. This is the low here, not here. So this can be 1, 2, 3, or 5 up in here before we get another one down. So this is more like 1, 2, 3. You wait for a wave 4 and trade a wave 5 up, and then you'd have to be careful because it can give you another one down before it goes. GY on the daily, we're looking at that A, B, and a C. Still looking for a little bit more upside up to this 100 fib here. Starting to get a lot of bearish divergence now. We had that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lost that bearish divergence. So I was looking for a larger correction, which we got, and then we went up and broke the top, giving us more divergence, more bearish divergence there. Here we have a bull hidden. So I'm expecting this to go up and break that top. You may get a buy setup on this. It's more scalping. It's more of a scalp. But what I'd like to see is we got a nice impulse up. So if we get like 3 down in here on the lower time frames and then a buy setup, you can look to buy to go and break the top. And possibly up to that 100 fib like I showed. I'm looking for price to get up to this 100 fib. So there's quite a bit of room in it. UY on the daily, I don't like this. Like I've gone over many times before, this is the low here and it never broke the low. This in here, like I was looking for an A, B, C, and this C down to go and break this low. It never did. So I've been saying for a long time, I'm pretty much keeping out of this. And on the lower time frames, it's more corrective. It looks more corrective than anything. I've put this count on a few weeks ago, but it hasn't changed. Like I'm looking at that one A, B, C, A, B, C, and then 3 or 5 up in here for a complex correction. Looking at that A, B, C here, and then an A, B, C to finish off this B wave, and then I'd be looking for downside. It's really scalping this, and I believe this is going to be some sort of a correction in here, and then we get more downside once it's finished. If anything, I'd be looking to trade, if I was to trade a JPY pair, I'd be looking to trade GY, not UY. Like this isn't very nice at all. This is more, I mean, we could look at it as a leading diagonal, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you get a 5th wave up here. Yeah, it does look bearish on the lower time frames in there, but I dare say we'll get a bull hidden in here, and then you get another one up. So if you're looking for the sell in there, I'd be very careful. I'll be more interested in like 3 down in here on the lower time frame, and then look for a buy to go up and break that top. And if you're lucky, it takes off. But yeah. USD CAD, looking at that 1, 2, 3, looking at a wave 4, waiting for that time factor like I've gone over for a very long time now before I look for that wave 5 up. And the reason is because this wave 4 here is coming to the territory of this wave 2. I mean, this is more corrective as well. This is more of a complex correction in here for more downside, I believe. Like we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. so we can get 3 or 5 up in here before we get more downside. It's more corrective, I believe. In the longer term, once we get this correction completed, I'd be expecting more downside. In the shorter term, I'd be looking for buys for these 3 or 5 up in here. But, I would be sticking to what I've been saying for a long time. I'm waiting for that time factor, and then I start to look for buys. If this low here gets broken, that ending point of wave 2 over here, well, then I'm more interested in a sell. Get a correction and a sell for more downside, because we're obviously not going to get a wave 5 up if this wave 2 gets broken, the low of that wave 2. So yeah, I mean, it's really just scalping. We're getting a lot of bullish divergence on the H1, so it's, very risky to sell, and there's no real buy set up on it either yet. So I'd be leaving it alone. The Swissy, looking at that A, B, C, we got this running triangle in here, like I've showed. We still can get down to this 100 fib, like I've mentioned before. So there is still a little bit of downside in it. H4, I've been looking for this, a complex correction. It hasn't given this 5 up here yet, which is, I'm looking at that A, B, C, A, B, C, and then get 3 or 5 up in here for that larger correction. Then we get more downside, but it's just kept on going down. I'm looking for buys, but it's just not giving us a buy setup yet. It's pretty much like I've shown last week. On the H1, we've got this like 1, 2, 3, waiting for a wave 4 here, and we get a 5th wave down. I'm waiting for this 5th wave down on the H1, and then a nice impulse up from the low on the lower time frames, and then I can look to buy. I'm really waiting for this wave 5 down, and then I'll look to buy. I mean, it's dangerous to trade this wave 5 down now, but I'm more interested in the buy once we get this wave 5. EG on the daily, nothing's changed. We've been looking at this for a long time. Like that 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5th wave up. We do have a bull hidden there, so I'm looking for that top to get broken, like I've gone over for a very long time now on the daily. Nothing's changed. H4, we had this flat here, so I'm looking for this wave 3. You can see it here, like 1, 2, 3, wait for a wave 4 and a wave 5 up. I mean, if you're not already in this, you pretty much have to stay out. If you're not in it, this gave a nice bullish setup, on the lower time frames. There was a correction in here. I had a nice impulse up from a low. We got a nice correction in there to buy. If you're not in this already, you still can look to buy. I'd be looking at like 1, 2, 3 in there on the lower time frames, and then if you got a buy set up, you could look to buy, because we are getting a bull hidden in here. So you can look for a buy, but you really got to wait for 3 down in here on the lower time frames, breaking this low, unless it's a running flat that goes up and breaks that top and then gives you a running or expanding flat. At this stage, I'd be looking at a regular flat or a zigzag. But yeah, I'm waiting for a correction in here, and then you could look to buy. Like I mentioned, we do have bullish divergence in there. It's not confirmed, so there is no buy set up on it at this stage. Really need those 3 down first. WTI, it was starting to go. This is very difficult to trade. It has been. Looking at that A, B, and a C. In here, I'm looking at an A, a B, and a C up. We started to get this C up, and then it comes straight back down. There's still possible more upside in this. It's pretty much exactly like I showed last week. Nothing's really changed on the H4. looking at that like 1, 2, extended wave 3, wave 4, and you trade a wave 5 up. In here, I'm looking at, like I mentioned last week, this can still give us another one down, not breaking this low here. We do have a bull hidden here. So I'm looking for 3 down in here, nice bullish setup, and then I can look to buy for that wave 5, finishing off the wave 3. If this comes down and breaks this low here, well, we're not going to get a 5th wave up, obviously. And this is some sort of a complex correction in here, and we get more downside. But at this stage, I'm still looking for a wave C down in here without breaking this low, and then if I get a buy set up, then I can look to buy. So I'm more bullish on this still, but yeah. Gold, looking at that 1, 2, 3, waiting for this time factor here for a wave 4, and then get this wave 5 up. Pretty much, I've been looking at this complex correction in here for a very long time in here as well. It's pretty much played out up to this. We got A, B, C, A, B, C. I'm looking for an A, a B, and a C down in here, or 3 for a 333 or 335 complex correction. Like I've gone over for a long time, really need to fill this time factor in for this wave 4 on the daily time frame. It's looking very bullish in here though, and on the lower time frame, it's looking very bullish. But you got to be careful, because this can just give you like, we got a flat in here, so you can look to buy this to go up and break the top. But I'll be just looking for 1, 2, 3, an A, B, C, like I just showed, and then you get like 3 or 5 down, or more down, an A, a B, and a C down. Yeah, I mean, you got to be very careful in here. It's not really giving you a buy setup to buy. I'd want something better than what it's giving here. If I quickly go down to the lower time frame, this is more bearish. Looking at that A, B, C, but this hadn't gone. It's more bearish. It may give you another one up in here, and then you get another one down. Before it goes, like, then you get that A, B, C. So yeah, I mean, I'd be very careful buying this. You definitely can on the lower time frames, but you got to get it to break even, because like I said, it may just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up in here, and then you get like more downside. Silver's already played out, like I've mentioned on the daily. Has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, impulse down. So we had that complex correction in there, larger correction, and it's already gone up and broke the top. So this has already played out pretty much how we're looking at it. H4, nothing's changed since last week. We're looking for this wave 4, and this time factor here, I'm waiting for this time factor. Like I said last week, really need this time factor on this, because we're right at the top of the market. Before I trade that wave 5 up, and nothing's changed. Really need to. I mean, there's quite a few different scenarios here. Like I was looking at that A, B, C, A, B, C, but this can be like an A, B, C in here, a flat, and then you get A, B, C up in here before you get A, B, C, A, B, C, and then you get 3 or 5 down in here for that complex correction before we get the upside. So there is a couple of different scenarios here. We may get a flat here. before we get another one up, like I just showed, or, yeah, I don't like it. At this stage, I'd be leaving it alone until we get this time factor. It's that simple, especially when you're up the top of the market here. Bitcoin, again, this has already played out on the daily. It's already broken the top. We had the 5 up, larger correction, and it's already gone up and broken the top. It didn't get to our first target or our second target yet, but it's still possible it will. We're just looking at this correction on the lower time frame. Well, it was pretty much like I showed last week. It went a little bit higher than I thought, but looking at this A, a B, and a C down before we get like more upside. Again, we really got to fill this time factor in because we're right up the top of the market. This looks very corrective here. We sort of had 3 down, breaking this low here. So, we are getting bearish divergence in between these two tops here as well. So I'm more bearish on it, but there is no sell setup on it. That's the problem. There's no sell setup on it. We may even have a bull hidden here. Yeah, I believe we do have a bull hidden here. It's not valid to trade, but there's a possible bull hidden to go up and break the top again, and it definitely could. If I was looking for the buy, I'd want 5 down and then look for a buy, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th wave down. In here, we may get bear hidden in here, and you get a 5th wave down. And then if you get a buy set up on the lower time frames, you could look for buy for like an A, B, C. Yeah, but yeah, it's not ready yet. There's nothing to buy there yet. I need those 5 down. S&P 500, we got the 5 up in here. Larger correction, and we've already gone and broken the top, so there's nothing to do here. We got this larger correction in here, like I've shown, and it's already gone up and broken the top. We're getting that bearish divergence as well. So again, there's really not much you can do here. I was looking for a little bit more downside in this wave 4, but it turned into a running flat there. Yeah, there's really not much you can do here, and there is no sell set up on it either. You'd need like 3 down of this before I'd even consider looking for a buy. Some sort of a 50-fib retrace of this move here before I'd start to look for a buy. On the lower time frames, you could look for a sell. It's not, it's dangerous. It is. We look at the M15 quickly. We have a bull hidden here. This is looking bearish here, and more than likely this low will get broken. But then you may just get an A, B, C in here, not breaking this low here, and then a bullish setup, and the bull hidden plays out, going breaking the top. So, you could scalp this if that's how it played out. You got 3 down in here and a nice bullish setup. You could look to buy to go and break that top, but it's really just scalping. We're down onto the M15, so actually the that low there, not this low here, sorry. So this is looking bearish. If it does go down and break this low here, well then if we got a nice sell setup, we could look for a sell, but unfortunately there still is that possible bull hidden there. U200, really nothing to do here either. I'm waiting for this larger correction. We got a nice impulse up. I mean, this is the weekly, this count here. We sort of had this A wave. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. B wave, C down. We got that large flat, and we've already gone just we're just about broken the top. So again, there's really not much to do on this. I'm waiting for that 50 fib retrace. You could look for sells. This is looking rather bearish at this stage, but yeah, there is no sell set up on it at this stage. The FTSE is the same as last week too. This one has gone up and broken the top, I believe, just. But again, I'd want a nice correction before I'd even consider buying it now. I'd be more interested in a sell. Like we already have all this bearish divergence, sort of very choppy. I'd be more interested in a sell, possibly getting 5 down in here before I'd even consider looking for a buy. I'd be more interested in a sell, but there's really not much of a sell on it. It may not be ready yet. Yeah, it's very choppy, and we are getting bearish divergence. So, if you did get a sell set up on it, you could look for it. This may be an A, B, C in here expanding flat, but then it may just give you a C down, give you another one up. For some sort of like an A, B, C, and then you get an A, B, C flat in here before you get an A, B, C, and then you get the sell set up to go and break the low. So yeah, I'd be looking at some sort of a correction like I just showed there. I'd wait for this higher high here and then look for a sell. Wait for the complete correction. The DAX, nothing to see here either now. This has played out exactly how we were looking at it. We had that bull hidden there. We were looking for this, even right down here, we were looking for this to go break that top, and it's done that. We may have even lost the bearish divergence here. Oh, no, we do have bearish divergence between the two tops. Again, I'd be more interested in a sell. And you may be getting that. Looking for that 50 fib retrace, like I've been going over for quite some time. We sort of have an A. Could look at this as a B, and you get a C down in here. If you got a sell set up in there, you could look for a C down. So I hope you enjoyed this weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.